So first of all, I would like to thank the organizers for organizing this conference during this difficult time, and also the conveners of this neutrino physics working group. My friends are there and they have given me this opportunity to talk about our recent work. So I hope you can see my first slide. So this paper appeared on arXiv in the month of April, and this work I have done with my PhD student, finishing PhD student Anil Kumar. So in this paper, what we have tried that can we validate that there is a core inside the Earth when we will have atmospheric neutrino data in the proposed India-based neutrino observatory experiment. So you can see all the details regarding this work in this arXiv. Now I'm going to my second slide. So very quickly, I don't need to elaborate on what is the INO project, but under this India-based neutrino observatory project, our main goal is to build a 50 kiloton magnetized iron calorimeter detector, and it will be housed inside a cavern in the southern part of our country. And the main aim of this detector will be to detect atmospheric neutrinos, which spans over a wide range of energies from few GeV to few hundreds of TeV, and over a wide range of baselines, so that those neutrinos can feel the Earth matter. And the main aim of this experiment is to determine the neutrino mass ordering and to improve our precision on atmospheric parameters. But the most important thing that I want to highlight in our experiment, that our detector is magnetized, and we have almost 1.3 Tesla magnetic field inside the detector. And that helps when a nu mu and nu mu bar arrives at the same time in our detector, they will give mu minus and mu plus, and they will leave long tracks because they are the minimum ionizing particle. And due to the presence of magnetic field, we will be able to distinguish between mu minus and mu plus events. And this is very important because matter effects come in a different fashion when you talk about neutrino and antineutrino. And if you sum them up, like in water or argon-based detectors, then you dilute the information. The energy range that we are looking for is around 1 to 25 GeV. This is the reconstructed muon energy range. And the muon energy resolution, we have typically around 10%. And we are seeing neutrinos across a wide range of baseline, 1500 to all the way the entire diameter of the Earth. And we have very good muon zenith angle resolution of around 1 degree. So I want to stress that in our entire study, we are working with the observables, which are the 4 movement of muon, the energy of muon, the zenith direction of the muon, as well as the hadron energy. That I will talk about later. So let me go to my next slide. So this is a very well-known slide. I don't need to elaborate. So when neutrino passes through matter, they feel the coherent forward elastic scattering with the ambient particles. And since we have electrons inside the matter, the NUI will feel an extra potential due to their charge current interaction. And this is the Wolfenstein matter term you can see over there, which is proportional to the electron density inside the Earth and also with the energy. And this comes with the opposite sign as far as neutrino and antineutrinos are concerned. And that's why it gives you different oscillation probabilities, even if your delta Cp is 0. So this is a source of fake Cp asymmetry. But in our case, the most important thing is that if you are dealing with a neutrino of energy around 2 to 10 GeV, and if your atmospheric mass square difference is around 10 to the power minus 3 eV square, then it turns out that within the Earth, we can satisfy this MSW resonance condition. That means in the left-hand side, we have the atmospheric mass splitting, and that can be equal to the Wolfenstein matter term, which is 2 root 2 GFNE, if we take a neutrino energy around 6 to 8 GeV and also baseline around 5,000 to 8,000 kilometer. So as you can see from this expression, you have MSW resonance if your ordering is normal and if you are dealing with neutrinos. And your resonance can happen for antineutrinos if your ordering is inverted. Since we don't know the ordering, so in our results, we take particular ordering to generate the data, but in fit, we marginalize over both the ordering possible. So let me just briefly tell you what is the internal structure of Earth. We all know that from various seismic studies, we have an understanding about how our Earth looks like. So in the left, I have drawn a cartoon where I'm showing a simple 3-layered model of Earth. So we have the crust, which has the lowest density. Then we have the hot mantle, and we have the solid upper mantle, and the lower mantle is kind of viscous plastic in nature. Then as far as core is concerned, we have a solid inner core and then the liquid outer core. And the most important element in the core is iron and nickel. So you can see in this table, this is the radius with which the core spans there. And this is the radius where we have mantle. And this is the end. We have this radius from 5,700 to the 6,371 kilometer, that we have the crust, and these are the densities. And you can take a look at these references. Now let me proceed further. So now I am plotting the same cartoon in the left-hand side, but what you see in the right-hand side is very important. Here in the x-axis, we have the radial distance from the center of the Earth to the surface of the Earth, from left to right. And in the y-axis, you have the density that we have inside the Earth. So here, this plot is drawn using the actual PREM profile, PREM profile, which has basically 81 layers. Now, if I go further, now I have drawn with the black line, assuming that PREM has 25 layers, a reduced version of PREM. But I can assure you that for all your practical calculation, our detector cannot distinguish between whether PREM have 81 layers or 25 layers. 25 layers are perfectly fine for the physics that we are going to talk here. And also it saves your computation time because you are dealing with atmospheric neutrinos. Now let me proceed. I am on my slide number 7. Now you see the red line tells you the 3-layered model of the Earth. So you have a density for the core, which is 11.37 gram per centimeter cube. Then you have another density in the mantle, and then you have the last density in the crust. Now let me proceed. Now, if I just remove the core from the Earth, and I fuse the core and mantle as like a mantle, but while doing so, I keep the mass of the Earth fixed and the radius of the Earth fixed, then what you will get is basically this blue dotted line. So I have fused the core and mantle into just mantle. I say this is mantle. So I don't assume in this model that there is a transition between core and mantle, and there is a uniform density along that. And this is my model, which I want to rule out with the new atmospheric neutrino data in my experiment. That's why I told my title is, I want to establish with neutrino data that there is a core inside the Earth. So the model that we will discard, we want to discard, is this blue dotted curve model, which is the mantle crust model. Now let me proceed. Now you can also do another exercise, and you can fuse the mantle and the crust, and you just consider that there is a uniform density along the mantle and the crust. And again, you keep your mass of the Earth and radius fixed because they are very well-known quantity. And you will get what is this dashed green line. Now I'm on my 10th slide. You can also think that why can't we assume that Earth has a uniform density? And you can build all these models. They're perfectly fine. And you want to just establish or validate or refute these models with the help of neutrino oscillation data. So I'm on my slide number 11. So here is a summary of the various models, Earth profile models that we consider. We have PREM model, then we have the core mantle crust, the 3-layer model, then we have mantle crust, core and mantle, and uniform density. The main aim of this work is to establish the core mantle crust model or PREM model against the model where there is no core. Basically, that is the mantle crust model. Now, here I am showing you the muon survival probability, because in our experiment, we are only sensitive to muon because our iron plates are so thick that electrons can't pass through them and give you signature. So we basically probe nu mu to nu mu and nu e to nu mu oscillation channel clubbed together. So here on the top, you can see the best fit oscillation parameters that we consider to generate our data or to prepare these oscillogram plots. So you can see on the top left, we have vacuum. Then in the middle, we have the PREM profile. Then in the extreme right on the top, we have the oscillogram if I assume only the 3-layer model of the Earth. Then in the bottom left, we have the mantle and crust model. And in the middle of the bottom, we have core mantle, so there is no crust. And in the extreme right, we have the uniform density. Now, if you just look at the PREM model of the Earth, which we believe is the actual Earth, then you see here, if you can see my arrow, here we feel the MSW resonance. Basically, θ13 in matter attains a maximal value of 45 degree. And this is denoted here by red yellow patch. You can see here. And this lies in the cos theta range of -0.8 to -0.5 and in the energy range of 6 to 10 GeV. But there is another interesting feature we have. When neutrinos are passing through the boundary of core and mantle, you also feel what is called in literature neutrino oscillation length resonance, or some literature they call it parametric resonance. And you can see here, these red and yellow patches, if you can see my cursor, they appear when your baseline is above cos theta of -0.8 and your energy should be around 3 to 6 GeV. So now our job is in this work that we want to establish this PREM profile here by discarding this mantle and crust model. So in this way, we will establish that there is a core inside the Earth. So you can see when I remove the core, that means the bottom left panel, you see this MSW feature is reduced, and also the parametric resonance or the neutrino oscillation length resonance feature is vanished. And this is obvious because you have removed the core. So there is no transition between mantle and core, and you don't see this feature. So in some sense, this work also proves the presence of neutrino oscillation length resonance that we have inside the Earth. This is a very nice, interesting concept given by one of our audience, Professor Petkov.
2 minutes.
Yes, Pilar.
2 minutes.
Okay. So you can see that, when you switch off the core, basically you are playing with matter and you lose these features that we have inside the Earth. Now the question is, can our experiment tell this? So this is the muon survival probability. I can quickly show you. This is the appearance channel. The appearance channel has very minimal impact in our experiment, around 2 to 4%. The total number of events contributed by this channel is around only 2 to 4%, but they have some role. And you can see when there is no matter, there is no core, then mantle and core boundaries vanished here. But in the PREM profile, you have these nice edges, which tells you that there is this neutrino oscillation length resonance is there. So now let me quickly proceed. So this is a nice cartoon. You can see I am on slide number 14, that on the top left, this tells you that if neutrinos travel more than 10,691 kilometers, then those neutrinos are passing through your crust, mantle, and core. And we call them crust, mantle, core passing neutrinos. In this yellow patch, the neutrinos are only passing through crust and mantle. And in this cyan patch, neutrinos are only passing through crust. And now I want to tell you that how many mu minus and mu plus events we can expect in our detector if we run it for 10 years, 50 kiloton detector, and we use all the detector simulation tools, the event generator provided by the collaboration. So this is a full-fledged analysis. And you can see that we have expect 331 mu minus events, which are basically core passing, and 146 mu plus events. Let me proceed with this information, but life is not simple. When you see your events in your detector, you basically see the reconstructed muon events.
Zero
So
minutes.
yeah, so I'm quickly wrapping up.
Mhm.
So when you go from neutrino to muon, there is a kinematic effect, and then you have the detector resolution. So you can see that, on the top left, when you are telling core passing events, they also migrate to, this lower baseline. So migration happens for all the models. This is true. Now, these are the details that I don't have time. This is the binning scheme we use. This is the systematic uncertainties we use. This is the standard Poissonian chi-square. But just I want to flash that if we want, we can discard the mantle and crust model. That means we can establish that there is a core inside the earth at a confidence level of 7.45. If we assume we have charge ID, indeed we have charge ID, and if ordering is normal, and if mass hierarchy is inverted, then this sensitivity goes down and it becomes 4.83, because your event rate is dominated by neutrinos. So I'm just wrapping up. This is the effect of marginalization. Uncertainty over the atmospheric mass splitting and theta 2,3 have some role to play. In future, if we can measure those parameters well, our sensitivity will be improved further. So this is the last slide where you can see with theta 2,3, your sensitivity will increase. In future, if theta 2,3 turns out to be in the higher octane, your sensitivity will be higher to establish Earth's core. So this is my conclusion. We showed here a possibility that we can use neutrino oscillation in the presence of Earth matter to tell something about the internal structure of the Earth, which is completely complementary to the seismic studies. We have around 300 mu minus events and 150 mu plus events, which are core passing in ICAL. And I just told you that if we go with this analysis, we can have a median sensitivity of delta chi-square of 7.45 to establish Earth's core if the ordering of the neutrino masses is normal, and if the ordering is inverted, then the delta chi-square will be around 4.83. So I would like to stop here, and I'm happy to take